The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Garbage, trash, scum, basket of deplorables, invective rhetoric, it can infect us all. Let me know in the comments and chat, is Joe Biden actually trying to destabilize the Kamala campaign? Is it all but over? Are we going to experience some crazy event between now and November the 5th? What's going on? Does Joe Biden mean to say these things? Because Joe Biden seems to have become more competent now than at any point in his career. More than he was engaging when he was engaging in the war against drugs as a congressman. More than when, as vice president, he was endorsing Obama's many foreign wars and drone strikes against innocent civilians and supporting, too, his support of a corrupt financial industry that brought about the 2008 financial collapse that means that many people are still suffering now from financial insecurity. Is Joe Biden more effective now when undermining Kamala Harris than ever before? And let me know in the comments and chat, is he doing this on purpose, or is he, like one of his kids, Hunter, just a little distracted?
Donald Trump has no character. He doesn't give a damn about the Latino community. He's failed businessman. He only cares about the billionaire friends he has and accumulating wealth for those at the top. He says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Give me a break. He wants to do away with the birthright citizenship. Who the hell has said that in the last 100 years? And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
That's worse. That's worse. That's worse. You're the current sitting president, you lovely doddering old sausage, and you've just called half of the electorate garbage, whereas Tony Hinchcliffe, an act appearing at a rally that Trump was also at, said a clear and apparent joke. There's a flotilla of garbage and trash. And how did Trump respond to that? I don't even know I don't know who he is. Like, so offhand, so recognizable, such a smart way to handle it. What Biden has just done there is created a bigger scandal and a larger problem while attempting to capitalize on one. Do you remember when Jon Stewart said about the debates between Trump and Biden, when Trump was talking about the subject of abortion, notoriously a difficult subject for the Republicans, that Biden brought up immigration? I see Jon Stewart goes, no, don't immigration, abortion. Like, don't switch those subjects, you lunatics. Well, here they're handed a golden opportunity, and an opportunity to maliciously, unnecessarily, and I think somewhat vindictively and inauthentically target the Trump MAGA movement as being explicitly racist as a result of jokes that were made at a rally. And instead, they end up vilifying all Trump supporters, which will, of course, comprise many, many different demographics. It's kind of clumsy if it was inadvertent, but if it was deliberate, as some people are suggesting, it's masterful. If you want some genuine analysis, though, here it comes. The problem is inauthenticity. I don't reckon Joe Biden actually believes that 50% of the United States of America are garbage. He can't have done if he's been around America and been around Americans. You would know that, oh yeah, like for me, for example, right now, I'm in like the Redneck Riviera, it's being called. I'm in sort of North Florida, I suppose, meeting people from the South all the time, Christians. You're going to assume that most of these people are going to vote for Trump now. And they're not even particularly zealous or evangelical when it comes to politics. They're just normal, pretty awakened, pretty smart people that recognize that the biggest threat is not demagoguery and populism or nativism, but in fact global bureaucracy and globalist technocracies, where cadres of experts come together under the auspices of bureaucracy or under the umbrella of corporatism, financial and commercial corporatism, big tech corporatism, and seize control from sovereign individuals. Now, one thing that was interesting, I heard a moment ago, yes, it was from Bannon just there, is this principle of sovereignty that we must embrace as individuals. All of us deserve to be free as individuals, no matter who we are or where we're from. We are all forgiven and we are all worthy, not through our own actions, but through the actions of the incarnation of the divine, the literal instantiation of the divine principle. What that means is that there's no reason for us to quarrel with one another. We have individual sovereignty if we want it, as long as we're not bonded to and controlled by the principles of this world. The way that this principle is actually realized is not by power and domination. Sovereignty no longer means to be a king of domination. It means, since the advent of Christ, the ability to sacrifice yourself. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself for anything? Let me know in the comments and chat if you recognize that this is the problem. You're being invited to wed yourself to worldliness and to the flesh, to be governed by your desires. Look at how commercials work on television. They stimulate you either sexually or make you feel inferior in some way. And what the news cycle continually does is stokes fear and stokes division. What we are offered is the opportunity to transcend those ideas through a transcendent God and connect to those ideas through an immanent God. Transcendent just means above you, and immanent means within you. Both of those things are true. All of those things are available. It's part of the journey that I'm on, and that's why I make the show Break Bread now, where I have Christian conversations. You can join us for those. Even join us if it's to say, I think this stuff's all made up, because, how could I query you people out there that are not Christian when I've been baptized since April the 28th? On April the 27th, I wasn't baptized, or on April the 26th, or all the way back through my life where I've lived in various ideologies, and the ones that I can tell you served me the most badly were the materialist, corporatist, Hollywood-led, mad institutions of worldliness and carnality. When I was a member of that world, that is when I was suffering most under their illusions, delusions, and lies. Something about worldliness is never enough. You can't ultimately rely on bureaucratic political figures for resolution. What you need is nothing short of God. But how are you going to find your way to God? And how are you going to access God on a daily basis? One way is through the Hallow app. It's an app I use myself for the daily rosary. And they've got an interesting new offering that I want to tell you about. They've got a new prayer challenge, One Nation Under God, specifically designed to help us get through this mad election period. Every day you'll be guided in praying for peace, the country, and our neighbours. Actor Neil McDonough is going to be the main guide, and he'll be joined by guests including Montse Alvarado and Katie McGrady, as well as trusted spiritual leaders who'll help us really connect to God. You all saw me make that prayer with Tucker. Maybe some of you saw me make that prayer with Rescue the West. That's because I believe that political solutions can only take us so far. We need God, and we need God now. Sign up at hallow.com/brand to get 3 months for free. I've got the app right now. It's on my phone. I use it every day. The 3-month trial will include Hallow's Advent Prayer Challenge. Oh, that'll be cool for Christmas, which will include a truly special lead up to Christmas. That's hallow.com/brand to join me in daily Christian meditation. J.D. Vance pointed out that when they first reported on that garbage thing, that they cut out, they sort of favourably edited it. Let's have a look. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. That's a direct quote. That's what Kamala Harris's boss said. This is how Politico reported on it. Let's have a look. Biden, in a Zoom call with the organisation Voto Latino, said the only garbage was the hatred of Trump supporters who said such things about American citizens. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. They're carrying it for him. That's so cool. That's just in microcosm. That's how it works. Inauthenticity, clumsiness and blunders everywhere you look, and then a media establishment that's willing to tidy up the mess for them, because they're not there to report information. They're there to pursue a particular outcome, and there's no principle to prevent them doing that, because I don't have principles. Brilliant, actually. Absolutely brilliant. Trump's authenticity is perhaps his greatest weapon. Here, he spontaneously responds to the news from Marco Rubio that Joe Biden has just called all Trump supporters garbage. Now, whether Biden means that or not, whether it's a slip of the tongue or a slip in the shower, it doesn't really matter now, does it? What I'm interested in is the opportunity to see Donald Trump spontaneously respond to some information. Watch how he handles Marco Rubio. Look at his decision to not read the note himself, and let's sort of make an assessment for ourselves whether or not it's Trump that's the duplicitous and untrustworthy performer, or whether or not it's the other side that are trying to manage our reality. Let's have a look.
All right. Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. are garbage.
It's amazing. Politics has become like wrestling, and if politics is like going to be like the WF, then you need people that know how to handle that kind of energy. You can see from a Kamala rally, she don't know how to handle that kind of spectacle and that kind of theatre. Like me, boo, hiss. Do you see the crowd there? Kamala, she like said, no, instead of chanting my name, chant your own name. What? What?
He's talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize for what Joe Biden just said.
Marco Rubio's really lent into that, hasn't he? Like, he didn't know whether or not he was going to do it. He thought he was going to just nervously hand a note to the big guy there. And then he's like, you read it, you read it. Smart decision. Because Donald Trump didn't know what was on that bit of paper, so he makes the decision intuitively, instinctively not to read it himself. How smart. I would have read it, because if someone's given me a bit of paper, I'm like, oh, is that what I'm supposed to do? Not Donald Trump. He's like, you read it. Then I'll work out whether or not I want to be associated with this information. See, with something even like the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, Trump's like, I don't even know him. But did he know him? I suppose so. I bet, part of doing that Madison Square Garden gig is you like meet Donald Trump and like, oh, hello, thanks. Like, whether he knew him or not, it sort of fits into the Trump persona that he can brush stuff off. Imagine if something inappropriate was said at a Kamala rally. Like, well, how are they going to handle now that Biden's just said all Trump supporters are garbage? Like, is Kamala going to sort of come out and say, look, I totally own it. It's my fault. I'm the leader here. The buck stops with me, JFK style. Or are they going to say, oh, Joe, he belongs to a different generation? What are they going to do? How are they going to handle it? What you can rest assured upon is that it will be inauthentic. It won't be a sort of spontaneous response. Now, apparently, Trump writes them tweets or X posts or whatever you want to call them, truth social posts himself. He's not like going, well, what do I do? He's not fretting about it, is he? And, even though I believe in sort of significant change, if you watch me, you know what I believe in, don't you? Like, I still feel that, well, he seems more like a person that should be running a country than like anyone I've seen trotted out by the Democrats for a while. Like, they don't seem interested in authenticity or genuine leadership as a matter of fact. Look at the choices he made.
We are not garbage. We are patriots who love America, and thank you for running.
This is my moment. I'm going to say a bunch of stuff. Remember when, in the primaries, little Marco just brushed everyone off.
Mr. President.
Wow. That's terrible. That's what it says. That's what it says. So you have, remember Hillary, she said deplorable, and then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable, that didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know, you have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said.
Even that is an interesting and mad reaction, because he's both sort of quoting scripture, indicating that Joe Biden has inepture and a degree of a mental senescence and ineptitude, dementia, that likely means he can't even remember or literally know what he's saying. So sort of a really interesting response, and it was a spontaneous response.
These people, it's terrible, terrible.
Oh, extraordinary. What a peculiar, and I mean that in the most literal sense, response. What a peculiar moment. Will it make a difference? Does that mean that the potential gains made by the MSG event and subsequent reporting have likely been squandered? I don't know. Let me know in the comments and the chat. And also, though, let me know what you believe about this. Authenticity is the currency of our time. People will forgive almost anything, I think, now. We recognise realise we live in a weird new commercial space. Independent media, new products are emerging, new political movements are being born, empires are crumbling. So much is going on at the moment that really all we can reach for is that kind of resonant knowledge that a person is sort of trustworthy and real. The same way as you would socially before making a decision whether or not to leave your kids with someone or something. You might go like, does that person look all right? Can I trust that person with my kids? Yeah, go on, you look all right. And you're going to make those kind of intuitive judgments probably politically, probably at every level, because we think we're so sophisticated, we think we're so smart. No, we ain't. We're adrift in eternity. We're adrift in the limitless. So we look for the kind of values and markers of eternity. When I say that, what I mean is simple stuff like strength, integrity, those kind of things will resonate. That's not foolproof. We're going to get duped. History is the long litany of errors made by humankind. Theology is the tracking of that through a spiritual lens. Philosophy is the attempt to unravel it and understand it. Mentally, all of our disciplines are an attempt to understand how a temporary pattern amidst eternity can be navigated by individuals like us and individuals like Donald Trump, who can be kind of spontaneous. They're going to do well in systems like this, and people like Joe Biden, who's, like this, put it kindly, past his prime, or Kamala Harris, who appears to be somewhat out of her field of excellence, whatever that field is or was, are not able to cope, I don't think, legitimately in this new media landscape. So they're attempting to control and cultivate the landscape by appearing on favourable shows, not appearing on other shows, censoring opponents, and sometimes pretty nefarious global projects like pandemics are unfolding. I know that happened under a different administration, because I don't think this is a party political issue actually at core. I think this is about new forms of power emerging that are trying to centralise power at a time when decentralisation would be rational. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments in the chat? If you're watching this on YouTube, turn on the notification bell. If you're watching this on Rumble, subscribe to our channel. And if you're not an Awaken Wonder yet, become an Awaken Wonder. It's actually worth it to join me for these Christian conversations with Carl Lenz, Tucker Carlson, Ruslan, and many others yet to come. More important than any of that is that you please stay free.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.